television at matinee rates. I know a big-budget beauty with impeccable taste should get you what you need to put a smile on your face with just the right blend of leather and lace. Madame Grindhouse is gonna be your guide to a weird, wild, wonderful world waiting inside. Step right up, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. She's here to provide Madame Grindhouse.
Hello, my little sprocket friends and cinematic masochists. It's me, Madame Grindhouse, your cinematrix of the silver screen. It's February, and this month we're going to start something new. Every February, we're going to look at a movie from one of the most well-known Grindhouse subgenres, the Blaxploitation movie, and therefore, it seems only right that we give this event an appropriate name. Now, before we get too far into this discussion, a disclaimer. This show is a two-person operation. Both contribute to the writing of this show. One provides my voice and the other does everything else. In other words, one of us has insight into the genre, the other one writes jokes about fucking Vincent Price. Neither of them are black, and as such, neither feel they should be opining as to the socio-political merits or flaws of the subgenre as a whole. But I can give you a little context in history as to how this era of movie making happened. In the late 1960s, due to a number of factors, but primarily the rise of television as the dominant media form, the old Hollywood studio system essentially collapsed, breaking the hold of the big studio's grip on movie making and distribution. In the aftermath came the rise of a ton of smaller production companies and a willingness to take chances on movies with themes, stories, and audiences outside of the primarily white audience Hollywood had been catering to up to that point. This led to a brief period, roughly from 1970 to 1978, where there was an explosion of movies made by black directors, starring black actors, and targeted to a primarily black audience. Like any wave of movies, there were some that were successful and many more that weren't. And the subgenre itself was divisive among the black community, with organizations like the NAACP and the Congress of Racial Equality often issuing statements lambasting some of these movies. In fact, the term blaxploitation was originally coined by Junius Griffin, former head of the Los Angeles chapter of the NAACP, as a pejorative term for them. But while the history and influence of blaxploitation is actually really fascinating, it's also largely outside the scope of this show. Again, we write jokes about fucking Vincent Price. So, if you'd like to know more, we recommend O.D. Henderson's Black Caesars and Foxy Cleopatras, A History of Blaxploitation Cinema. It's very comprehensive, and a fun read as well. So, all that said, on to tonight's feature. While blaxploitation is largely considered to have begun with 1970s Cotton Comes to Harlem or Melvin Van Peebles' Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song, there is one movie which broke through to the mainstream and opened the floodgates for black-led movies in the 70s and gave the world what is probably the best-known movie theme song ever. Tonight, 1971's Shaft. Written by Ernest Tidyman and John D.F. Black, based on Tidyman's novel, and directed by Gordon Parks, Shaft stars Richard Roundtree as John Shaft, a New York private eye who winds up in the crosshairs of a gang war. The movie opens with Shaft walking to his office through the grimy streets of early 70s New York.
Who's the cat that won't cop out when there's danger all about?
Shaft!
Right on.
Thank you, Isaac Hayes, for one of the best movie themes ever committed to film. Anyway, the opening of the movie follows Shaft as he heads for his office. On the way, he gets news that a couple of guys are looking for him, by the guy who runs the newsstand, his shoeshine guy, who apparently is also one of his informants, and finally by the cops. In this case, by Lieutenant Vic Andrazi of the NYPD, who also tells Shaft the cops have heard rumblings of trouble uptown. Shaft, of course, knows how to handle cops.
Hey, where the hell are you going, Shaft?
To get laid. Where the hell you going?
Fuck yeah, this is a man after my own heart. Shaft arrives at his office building and immediately spots one of the dudes he was warned about in the convenience store in the lobby, so he decides to go all Batman on him.
Make a noise and I'll cut you in two. Back up.
Actually, no. Shaft is tons better than Batman at this kind of thing. He hauls Plaid Coat up to his office, where the other guy is waiting, and makes his explosive entrance. And yeah, Shaft's badass, but honestly, this is some of the slowest fight choreography I've seen since Bridget Jones. Well, damn. All that scene needed was a Wilhelm scream and we'd have a perfect stunt. Before the cops show up to find out what happened, Shaft interrogates Plaidcoat's partner.
Bumpy, Sinister, bring you uptown.
Did he tell you to mess me up?
Ooh, Rorschach test! Let's see, that fucking stupid snowman from Frozen with an erection. What? The other dude tells Shaft they were sent to bring him to see Bumpy Jonas, Harlem's biggest kingpin. But before that, Shaft, buddy, you seem like a smart guy. Why are you talking to both the cops and the DA without a lawyer present?
You expect me to believe that man went out the window the way you said he did? What do I look like? Some kind of klutz?
Don't ask and I won't tell you.
Okay, fair enough. But seriously, gang, don't talk to cops or DAs without a lawyer present. None of us are as badass as John Shaft to be able to get away with it. Of course, in Shaft's case, it helps that he and Andrazi actually have a decent relationship. To a point.
All the static and hassle in the world wouldn't make me sing a song for the police, Vic.
Exactly. Shut the fuck up when cops are around. Andrazi reveals that the cops are sure a gang war is about to start, but they aren't sure who's going to cause it or why. What they do know is that it isn't the Black Panthers or any of the low-level street gangs in Harlem.
And that's what I want to know. Not who, just what.
Well, as soon as white people got to Africa, they started kidnapping and enslaving black people, which they continued doing for centuries. Oh, you didn't want a full history of racial injustice? My mistake. After Andrazi points out that they have enough on Shaft to yank his license for 6 months, and that means he wouldn't be able to carry a gun while Bumpy is looking for him, and with something bad on the streets coming, Shaft says he'll think about telling Andrazi what he finds out. This gets him 48 hours to work, and then Andrazi's gonna come see him again. Who the hell keeps leaving these suits and glasses in the damn phone booth? Superman should get on that shit. Shaft calls Bumpy and tells him to meet at his office. Bumpy gets there first, but Shaft arrives shortly afterwards and...
You're in my chair.
Bumpy, I appreciate a fine-ass set of abs too, but is now really the time? And now we finally get into the actual plot of the movie, 22 minutes in.
Somebody kidnapped my daughter Marcy. Done in a couple of people. They leave no ransom, no nothing.
Bumpy isn't sure who took Marcy, but he thinks it might have been a minor gang of militants led by Ben Buford. Marcy's been known to get involved with black militants, and this particular gang has a hold on part of Harlem that Bumpy hasn't been able to control. Shaft cares for Bumpy about as much as he cares for the cops, especially when Bumpy implies that Shaft has one foot in the white community anyway. Shaft takes offense to that.
You believe that? What's all this shit about me having one foot in whitey straw, huh, Bumpy?
I said I think they had her. I didn't say they had her in Harlem. They ain't dumb enough to take her someplace uptown. You find my baby. That's all I want. I got money. You spend it. And you find her.
This scene is actually one of the best in the movie. Richard Rountree's great, of course, but the scene is owned by Moses Gunn. As Bumpy, he goes from cool menace to hot anger to a man you can see thinks the world of his daughter and legitimately wants her home and safe. It's a powerful performance and probably one of the best I've seen in any movie. Shaft takes the case and begins looking for Ben Buford, backed once again by the dulcet tones of Isaac Hayes. He finds someone who knows where Ben is, and when the militants are going to meet later that night. That leaves Shaft with some time to kill. Okay, what subscription service do I sign up for to have a hot naked person delivered to me on a regular basis?
Baby, are you all right?
I got the feeling like a machine.
Feeling like a machine and about to fuck like one, I hope. Sensorless lighting fixtures courtesy of the Motion Picture Association of America. After blowing off Andrazi at a hot dog stand later that night, Shaft heads to meet up with the militants, and proves once again that he's better than Batman at getting into places past obvious guards.
The militants turned startled. This is private. How'd you get in here?
I walked in.
It turns out Ben and Shaft knew each other back in the day, but they've either drifted apart or had a falling out. The movie doesn't really make it clear. Shaft asks if they took Marcy. Ben says they don't do kidnappings, but before they can get much further, they're interrupted by gunfire and terrible ADR.
Sonny! Sonny! They're coming!
Up over the roof, Ben.
Yeah, go!
The other militants get mowed down by gunfire, while Shaft and Ben scare the bejesus out of a woman in one of the other apartments and escape the building, running from both the shooters and the cops, arguing all the way.
We're done running, man. What the hell do you call this, man?
Oh great, now I'm getting flashbacks to my high school gym class. Shaft calls Andrazi to find out how and why the cops got to the apartment building so fast. Andrazi agrees to meet with him. Meanwhile, Shaft gets Ben hidden at... Actually, I don't know what this woman's relationship to Shaft is. His girlfriend from earlier was Ellie Moore, and this woman is named Dina Green. And Dee isn't having any macho bullshit in her house.
Watch your mouth, man.
I'll say any damn thing I want.
Not in this house. Not here, you won't.
Okay, Dina's officially my favorite character now. Still wish I knew what the hell her relationship to Shaft is. I hope he's not a womanizer. Or at least that he's got some kind of early 70s open relationship thing going on. Shaft meets with Andrazi, who tells him that it looks like Bumpy's going to war against the Mafia, since a bunch of Mafia goons from out of town have been showing up after the last few days and are holed up in a hotel in Greenwich Village. Meanwhile, Bumpy's been increasing the number of his crews on the streets of Harlem, and a couple of his guys botched the kidnapping of a Mafia bigwig. While this seems to be a typical turf war between two crime families, Andrazi points out the optics of the situation.
Mafia against Bumpy. I mean, it's hood against hood on the inside, but on the outside, it's black against white.
With a possible gang war escalating into a race war, which will get federal government and possible military attention, Shaft gets back to work after taking a minute to call Ellie.
I love you.
Say it with some feeling, girl. Of course, it's not like Shaft's response is that great either.
Yeah, I know.
Womanizer. Fantastic. After picking up Ben, they go to see Bumpy, where Shaft makes it clear to Willie, Bumpy's bodyguard, that he's not going to submit to being frisked. Which makes sense. If they kill Bumpy, Shaft isn't getting paid. Simple economics, Willie. When they get in to see Bumpy, Shaft reveals he's figured out exactly what's going on.
Like you knew who grabbed your daughter. And you knew it wasn't Ben or his people. You laid all that jive on me in my office.
Bumpy finally comes clean, admitting that he pointed Shaft in Ben's direction because Shaft would need help in getting Marcy back from the Mafia.
My people ain't worth a damn outside of Harlem.
And my other sister ain't worth a damn outside of the red light district. We all got problems, Bumpy. Since the situation has changed, a new deal is struck. Ben gets $10,000 per man needed to rescue Marcy, plus an extra $50,000 for the 5 guys who got killed the night before, while Shaft gets $20,000 for his services. Both get half of the money up front, and the rest once Marcy's rescued. That night, Shaft asks a homeless guy in the neighborhood to go turn the lights on in his apartment, then ducks into a bar across the street, where he spots a couple of guys who don't look like regulars. So he pays Johnny the bartender $20 to take over the bar for a few minutes.
Nothing I wouldn't do for $20.
Yeah, Johnny, it's not exactly a secret. I've seen the graffiti. Shaft offers a couple of free drinks to the mob guys, who notice when the lights go on in Shaft's apartment. Johnny brings Shaft a proposition from a brunette named Linda who noticed him when he walked in. Damn, Shaft, how is Johnny the gay one and you're getting all the action around here? Shaft calls Andrazi and, using the old double talk bit, gets him to send a car to the bar, and then he makes himself known to the mobsters. The cops show up and take the mobsters in, but not before... That's just a waste of perfectly good Bloody Mary mix right there. So after some gratuitous shower sex, helpfully censured by the textured shower door, Shaft goes to the police station the next day to see what he can get out of the Mafia guys. Said guys are going to be released since there's no actual evidence tying them to the mob, so Shaft has to get creative.
Now give me a number so I can let you know where I'll be. And I'll call you at 12:30 sharp and meet you 1:45 somewhere in the village.
And then he goes home and pisses off Linda.
Hey, baby, please close the door, huh?
Hey. Close it yourself, shitty.
This concludes Linda's appearance in the movie. Andrazi shows up and tells Shaft his captain overheard the conversation Shaft had with the mob guys, and he wants Andrazi to bring him in for questioning.
It's lousy timing, right?
You gonna take me in?
I will if I find you. Are you home?
Hell no.
That's too bad. Call me when you get home.
He's still a bastard, being a cop and all, but at least Andrazi's smart enough to stay the hell out of Shaft's way. And what in the fuck is that painting? Jesus, Shaft, the rest of your apartment says you have more taste than that, 70s or not.
Close it yourself, shitty.
Shaft sets up a meeting with another mob guy who says he's taking him to see Marcy. As they walk through the streets, Ben and his boys follow them. When Shaft and the goon enter an apartment building, Ben sends his boys to keep watch on the exits from the courtyard while he continues to follow Shaft. Shaft tries to take the goon hostage and leave with Marcy, but it doesn't work since the goons have orders to keep her there no matter what. And that includes killing the goon and Shaft if they have to. Shaft tries to walk back out with the goon, but...
You gotta be fit enough to leave here to tell that black punk in Harlem that he's got 24 hours to deal or he's got a dead daughter.
The remaining goon drags Marcy out of the building, followed by one of Ben's guys, while Ben himself finds Shaft and gets him out of there before the cops show up. They take him to Ellie's place where, through the power of ADR, a man who has just shot multiple times sounds perfectly fine.
I said call Sam.
Shaft gets patched up by an underground doctor he knows. When he finally comes to, Ben tells him his guy trailed Marcy and the mob goon to where they're hiding out. Shaft calls Bumpy for transportation, and once everybody's at the hotel the mob guys are hiding out at, and Ben finds out which room Marcy's in, pretty much this is where the rest of the movie is largely taken up by the team getting ready to go in, and this takes longer than a broken magic wand. And then one of the shortest gunfights in the movie history happens. Seriously, the gunfight lasts about a minute. Marcy gets rescued and she and the militants bug out in the cabs Bumpy provided, while Shaft calls Andrazi and gets the last word.
Your case just busted wide open.
So close it for me.
Let the crap, man. This is Shaft. It looks like you're gonna have to close it yourself. Shitty.
And that's exactly where the movie ends, with Shaft walking off the scene right as the cops arrive to find out what the hell happened. But that kind of abrupt ending wasn't really uncommon for the early 70s, and definitely not unusual for exploitation movies. Shaft is a stylish noir story that's a little rough around the edges. I had a little trouble following Shaft's investigation on first viewing, but it's actually really entertaining. Richard Roundtree is really charismatic and makes Shaft likable, even if he has a couple of really shitty character flaws. In fact, most of the cast is really good, giving grounded and believable performances. The music is excellent, of course. When there's action, it goes all out, and it's even funny in places. Shaft was a huge hit at the box office and made it clear to Hollywood that yes, audiences would in fact go see movies featuring black leads and characters. It became such an influential film that the Library of Congress added it to its National Film Registry in 2000 for preservation. The movie went on to produce 2 direct sequels, Shaft's Big Score and Shaft in Africa, as well as a legacy sequel in 2000 starring Samuel L. Jackson, and another legacy sequel in 2019 starring Jackson and Jesse T. Usher. Richard Roundtree would appear in both films, reprising his role as the original John Shaft. But definitely see this one first if you decide to get into this series of movies. It lives up to its reputation. Obviously, there are plenty more blaxploitation movies we can talk about, but right now we only have the resources to do 1 episode of this show a month. So if you'd like us to be able to talk about more of these movies in February, or even at other times of the year, please donate to patreon.com/dubiouscon, link in the description. Even as little as $1 a month goes a long way to keeping this show going, and donating not only gets you early access to episodes of this show and other videos, it also gets you uncut and uncensored versions of my show with all the stuff YouTube won't let us show you, along with many other perks. Donate today, won't you? Next time, we start spotlighting a lesser-known entry in the slasher movie genre. One that's been around for years, spawned multiple sequels and a reboot, and just so happens to be one of my favorite franchises. So join me next time as I continue to show you what lurks on the other side of the silver screen.